Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. This is Mike Dutter with the National Weather Service in Wakefield with your Monday impact weather briefing for the area. Um, the main highlights of this briefing are twofold: the potential wintry precipitation, certainly, uh, rainy with some wintry mix of precipitation later this afternoon into tonight, and even into tomorrow morning. But once we get past this wintry mix early this week, the temperatures are going to significantly warm up by the end of the week, well above normal temperatures by Wednesday, continuing Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday. With some places likely seeing some at least upper 70s, not some lower 80s for temperatures by Friday. So get through today and into tomorrow morning, and the weather will definitely become much more spring-like by the end of the week. And that's because the weather pattern is very continues to be very active, at least in our area early in the week. We have this area of low pressure, this cold front that moved through yesterday afternoon that markedly caused temperatures to drop late afternoon into last night. That's to our south, and there's going to be a little wave of low pressure that's going to move across the area later today into tonight. That's going to bring that wintry precipitation to at least the northern sections of the area, and a cold rain most likely to the southern portions of the area this afternoon and especially this evening. As this little wave moves through, it will continue to have that wintry precipitation overnight and into tomorrow morning. And then by Wednesday, you see this warm frontal system starts to move north. The rain mostly moves north of the area, and we get very warm. We see this high pressure off to our east, and that the air around that high will be coming out of the southwest. So very mild temperatures and mostly dry again for the area uh, for the end of the week and really into the weekend as well. So, but let's just first start with this snowfall that is possible later this afternoon into tonight. We are expecting maybe up to a half inch of snow, mainly areas north of Richmond. The temperatures are going to be very marginal, with temperatures starting out above freezing when the precipitation comes in this afternoon. Then they may drop to right around freezing, or maybe just a 30 or something like that in this area. And that may allow for some accumulation, mainly on grassy surfaces and elevated surfaces. The road temperatures, some normally cold spots. The road temperatures may be just cold enough to see some slush on them, but again, not a major impact here. And the snow, any snow that does fall, will mix with and change to rain later tonight into Tuesday morning. Now, areas from Richmond and Point South, there may be some snow this afternoon into this evening, mixing in with the rain. But at this time, we're not expecting those accumulations any accumulations, especially south of Richmond. There's also a little concern about some ice. There is the potential for a glaze of ice in that yellow area, mainly Flavanna into Louisa counties, maybe the western part of Hanover and Goochland and northern part of Cumberland County. But again, most likely the temperatures are going to be very marginal, right around freezing. And with the relatively warm ground, any accumulation of ice, which again will be light, should be confined to elevated surfaces, trees. But again, it will be light enough that it shouldn't be even an impact to weighing those trees down or the power lines down. Again, just sort of a nuisance, nuisance type of freezing rain. Now, don't be, there could be a few slick spots around, both in the snow and the ice area later tonight into tomorrow morning, just because will be dark. But again, we're not expecting widespread impacts at this time. And I just wanted to show you sort of the idea of how this is going to evolve um, today into into tonight. Again, this is about right now. Again, very light precip. There might be a few showers out there. Right now that are moving in, but most of it is not reaching the ground right now. Again, this is a model depiction of about 2 o'clock this afternoon. We can see that the little bit more steady light precipitation moves in. Again, maybe some starting out of snow across the northern tier. But again, with the temperatures above freezing, the accumulation, at least this afternoon, especially on road surfaces, are going to be very tough. And once you get south of Richmond, see this green area, it is really going to be all rain south of Richmond. You can continue to see this is around late this afternoon, around rush hour. Again, you might see, again, continue to see that snow across the northern tier, rain mainly south of Richmond. There's going to be this transition snow, a zone or an area of rain-snow mix, probably across the Richmond metro. Again, not worrying too much about accumulations of Richmond and Point South. Those accumulations, if anything, will stay north of Richmond. And once we get into the nighttime hours, again, we're starting to see really that sort of that mixture of rain and snow, across the northern tier, sort of, and then by 9, 10, 11 o'clock, that's when you start to see maybe a little bit of ice develop in this red shading across Savannah, Louisa, maybe even in Caroline County as well. We'll see how cold it actually gets. And you can just sort of see that sort of just hangs on this area, this sort of mishmash of colors across here, red, greens, and blues. That's sort of indicating a mixture of precipitation, a lot of unknowns. It really is going to depend about how cold an area gets. But again, that's very representative of the temperatures are very, very marginal. The temperatures are going to be right around freezing, plus or minus a degree. And so even if it does snow, even if there is some freezing rain, with the ground temperatures being relatively mild, we're not expecting significant concerns. And you can see that continues right through. This is around sunrise tomorrow morning. And you can see at this point, the rain is starting to move out across the southern tier of the area, continuing across the north. Again, maybe at sunrise, there could be a little bit of freezing rain. You can see those tinges of red across this area here. So again, the Piedmont could have a little bit of freezing rain, but again, the temperatures right around freezing, so aren't expecting huge issues. And then certainly by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, it will warm up and everything will be all rain before generally ending later tomorrow afternoon. And so back to the briefing and back to the probabilities. Again, very low probabilities of an inch of snow. Generally less than 10% across the local area. And again, we're very much confined to Louisa, Caroline County, and up into the Maryland Eastern Shore, around 10%. It's higher as you go north, but again, in our area, the probabilities of an inch of snow are very low. Again, we're expecting just maybe a half inch of snow on grassy surfaces. And again, seeing this probability for a glaze of ice, 1/100th of an inch of ice, again, really focusing over Savannah, Louisa County, maybe extending into Goochland, the western part of Hanover, and into Cumberland County as well. So here's some timing for precipitation, and on the left is the precipitation type as well as the probability of precipitation. On the right are the temperatures. And notice that really you get into Louisa, Goochland, and those areas in the north, maybe Bowling Green, Tappahannock even. That's where you have these temperatures right around freezing, this cyan color here. Even Farmville gets to 34. That's where you're going to have the best chance of maybe some snow or ice. These other that may accumulate. Areas like Richmond that has a wintry mix forecast, while it's an 80 to 60 to 80% probability of a mixture of rain and snow. Notice how these temperatures are still in the mid 30s, and so despite the the rain snow mix in many locations. The temperatures are expected in most spots, other than again these few spots with temperatures in the lower 30s. We're expecting the temperatures to stay warm enough to any snow that does fall will melt immediately onto the ground when it hits the ground. And a little bit more on the timing. Again, we're expecting that precipitation to rapidly move in early this afternoon. Most of the area will see rain by late this afternoon into rain or wintry mix late this afternoon into this evening, continuing through midnight, and then gradually starting to subside by morning, and really just chances of rain, especially across the eastern part and northeastern part of the area tomorrow morning. But then generally ending with mostly, especially across the western parts of the area, the Piedmont and even into Richmond, just small chances of rain even across the eastern part, eastern shore, and into the Maryland eastern shore as well. And the good news is that once we get through today, tonight, and into tomorrow morning, much of the week, again, is going to be mostly dry. There are potentially some showers. Again, mainly, I think the best chances will still be across the north, at least through the end of the week. But maybe on Sunday, there could be a little stronger system moving in that could bring some light showers across the entire area. It's still to be determined, but again, these are very low amounts, and many areas could stay dry through at least the end of the week once we get past tomorrow. Notice these temperatures, boy, by especially by Thursday, Friday into Saturday. Look at these, well into the 70s, if not some lower 80s across the entire region, other than right along the coast. The water temperatures are actually very cold. So if you are right along the shore, the temperatures will be significantly cooler, unfortunately. But once you get away from the ocean, temperatures will be well into the 70s and 80s. And overnight lows generally well into the 50s. So very, very pleasant early spring weather in store once we get through today. And again, you can start seeing these probabilities of precipitation highest today and tomorrow, and then dropping back for the rest of the week. Generally just low chances, or really no chances of all of precip through the end of the week. This rain today and precipitation today and tonight certainly will help the drought some, but again, we continue to have a moderate or severe or extreme drought across our far southern Virginia, even parts of the Piedmont into northeast North Carolina. Unfortunately, this rain will not help that too much. That we did have some rain, late last week after this was issued, that could help the drought some. But again, some of these areas have significant rainfall deficits, and so it will take a lot of rain to totally remove the drought from some of these locations. And the great news is that if you like warm, mild weather, spring-like weather, looks to continue right through next week as well, with above normal temperatures expected, and at this time, at least slightly above normal chances of precipitation favored as well. So really getting into a spring-like pattern by later this week and continuing into next week. Now let's shift to our marine partners here, and notice that generally seas and winds will be elevated today into tomorrow, at least tomorrow morning. Across much of the area, small craft advisories are in effect for most of the waters today into tonight. But notice that once you get by Tuesday, and especially Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, much more subtle, wind and wave conditions, much more benign conditions. There could be some gusts to 15 to 20 knots, but again, much quieter marine conditions as the week goes on, as that next, as the high pressure builds to our west, or to our east. And you can see that really the strongest wind gusts are going to be today, lightening up by Tuesday, and then becoming south for really the rest of the week, again, generally less than 20 knots for all the waters through Thursday. And for an outlook for the rest of the week, again, relatively benign. You might see some stronger winds coming in late Thursday into Friday, as the next system cold front tries to approach. But again, these are very marginal small craft conditions for the bay, and certainly not small craft advisory conditions for the ocean. Seas highest today into this evening, generally 3 to 5 feet, and then subsiding to generally 2 to 4 feet, and with 1 to 2 foot waves in the bay. And so that is all I have for today. So I'll be happy to take any questions if you have them.